Hello, and hi. Oh, we got Chris back. Sorry, we had an issue where Chris couldn't see or hear us, and now he is back, so now we can talk about stuff and do stuff. Hey,
Where's
Chris.
Nicholas?
He's down on the bottom. He's in the green room, as it
I don't
were.
see him.
But you don't have to see him. He's
Did you
there.
just text me? Don't text me. My
Not.
phone
I'm
is
not
my
texting you.
camera.
I didn't text you.
Who has texted me? I can't
I don't
look.
know.
Anyway, welcome to
I'm
this
gonna
week's
text you.
episode of Good Night, everybody. My phone's my camera now. So if you text me, don't text me. Welcome to the show. Stephen, thank you for whatever you did while I was attempting to fix and did fix. You fixed. Somebody fixed. It got fixed. God fixed it. How are you?
I'm okay.
You got a leaky eye.
I do have a leaky eye. So that's.
Did you ever hear who's the tall freaky guy from who was from Freaks and Geeks, and then he was from How I Met Your Mother, which was awful.
First off, I loved How I Met Your Mother.
What's his name? You know what
Uh,
I'm talking about? Marshall.
yes, I do.
That's not his real name.
Yes, that was Marshall, and he was in Forgetting Sarah Marshall as well.
Oh,
And
that's
his name. What?
You just blew my mind right there.
Well, I'm just remembering.
Freemasons stuff. They put those signals, those codes out there. What was his name? Anyway, Jason. That's not Jason
Segel.
Jason Segel. Jason Sudeikis is the other guy.
Jason
Segel
is the other
did a song, an original song, on the old Craig Ferguson late night show called Wonky Eye, with very, very funny lyrics, a very, very sentimental tune. It was really good. Anyway, that made me think of you. Hat tip to you. You should look that up.
Speaking of which, my grandfather told me. So he.
I think he died.
No, he didn't. He knew this. He knew this guy. He used to work construction. He got this guy, and he knew this guy, and he lost his eye.
Is this a joke or is this real?
This is. You'll have to hear. So he lost his
eye. I don't
eye.
believe. I'll tell you why. Because your grandfather is probably a boomer.
No, my grandfather was born in 1930.
And everybody knows that they don't work. They're not. That's why people get mad now that the boomers tell all the young people to be entrepreneurial, and none of them were entrepreneurial. Well, my parents were. My parents are entrepreneurs. They had jobs, but they were also entrepreneurs. My mother started a gay telephone dating service out of the home. It was called Gaiety, but it was spelled G-A-I-E-T-Y. It was like a pun, you know. But of course, then being gay, it ain't like it is now. They were sneaky secret gays, and so they would call the house. You know, they would call the line, run out of the house, and they would connect them to another anonymous gay, and they would talk about whatever gays talk about. Dirty, promiscuous truck stop bushes. But you know what? Like I said, it was different. It was different then. They had to be like that. Even Liberace at the time never came out and said, I'm a big flaming guy, you know? And he was like the Elvis of gays. So if he couldn't say it. But it was our fault, Stephen. We drove them into the truck stop bushes with our bigotry. So I'm glad that society has righted itself in this regard. Now they can go and get it on in the middle of the children's library. Nobody bats an eye. It's educational. What was I saying?
You interrupted my story about my grandfather and his friend at the construction site.
Is it related to this?
It's related to eyes.
Not related to the secret gays.
No, not related to.
Okay, well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. So my grandfather, he had a friend who lost his eye at a construction site. And so he needed to go get a glass eye, but he couldn't afford one. So he had one that was like a polished wood. It looked really good, but obviously it wasn't a glass one. It was a wooden one. And he had a very difficult time trying to meet the ladies. And one night, my grandfather, he took him to like a dance hall.
Was it because all the women were in his peripheral?
Something like that, or just they didn't like the eye. So one night, He takes the man. My grandfather takes the man to a dance hall, and he sees a lady with a wooden leg. And so, okay, well, maybe they'll
Now,
hit
this
it
is
off.
the day when that was the only fake body part you had to worry about on the old lady.
He has a leg, yeah. And so my grandfather told his friend. His friend went over to the woman and said, "Would you like to dance?" And she said, "Would I?" And he turned to her and said, "Peg leg," and walked away.
Oh, I've heard this. Yeah.
It's an old joke. I know.
It's funny that your grandfather's the one that was there for that joke.
Yeah, he was. It was
So
definitely not me making stuff up.
Listen, is our guest still in the green room?
Apparently, yes. He's still here.
Well, bless his heart. Are we going to do a thing? What thing should we do? We have a selection of two. You have your thing that I disavow.
Yes.
And then we have the other thing.
So here's the thing.
So you want to get your thing out of the way? You want to get your thing out of the way? Not your thing. You want to get what you want to do out of the, well, that doesn't sound, that's not right either. Oh, I remember to stream to my thing. Not to my thing. To my YouTube this time. So both our things are fully functioning, proud to say. And you can clip that and keep it for posterity. Anyway, show us your stuff. Not really.
So this is a thing I did over the weekend, which is not weekend. I say weekend over the last few days. But these are all celebrities that could be Pope.
No, they could no.
No, that no. I mean, almost none of them could. I mean, he could be.
He's married to Deborah.
He's a baptized Catholic, so he could.
Now, is his real wife's name Deborah?
I don't believe so. But I think his real brother's name was
Robert.
That
on life.
Right, like his real brother's name was Robert, and his brother Robert didn't like how he was portrayed in the TV show. But so here is. Okay. So they're all accompanied by little phrases. All right, Deborah, I don't want to be Pope.
No, don't. Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, I know. We'll go through. There's a few of them here. And here we have. He couldn't be Pope, but then he can. Right. I gotta say, I was surprised. Some people thought I needed to be Catholic, but I won bigly. Every cardinal wanted me. I got baptized this morning, and we're gonna make Catholicism great again. Some say I'm better than St. Peter. I don't know. Some people say it.
St. Peter's Basilica, a big church, very big church. I walked in, I said, wow, that's a big church. A lot of people say Top of the Rock is bigger. I say, no, it belongs to the Muslims. This is a Christian church, very good. Much better people, the Christians. Supported me very well through the whole. When I got shot, I thanked Almighty God for my ear. Move on.
Yeah, see, you can do them too. This is just Weird Al. Dare to be holy.
That's Weird Al after he's been hit by a brick between the eyes. What was going on?
That's what he looks like now. He's an old man. So this is Christopher Walken.
Oh,
wow, I never thought I'd be here today. Just remember, kids, to say your rosary every day. You got to do it, or you're not.
I thought the guy we had last week was a hack, but you're really giving him a run.
I am definitely
the most stereotypical. Go ahead. How many more of these are there?
It's as many as
can't be Pope either, as far as I know.
I know.
Apparently, he's a creepy murderer.
Maybe. I can't really do a good. A good impression here, but I'm tired of these money-loving.
Do impressions of all the white guys, but not the black guy.
I don't have the timbre.
It's racist.
I don't have the timbre. Can you do a Sam Jackson?
I wouldn't do that. That's cultural appropriation.
Okay. So I'm tired of these money-loving.
I'm Italian. I'm not Sicilian.
In this table-flipping church. This is my wife's favorite. Initially.
I have to ask our guest about that, actually. Italians. I know I asked him last time I talked to him.
This is an oldie.
Oh, boy. Well, now, if you were clever, this would be black and white.
Yeah, I just went with whatever Grok created.
Now, exactly 0% of our audience are going to know who this is.
It's okay, because Nick knows. Nick De Santo. I can see it on his face. He knows.
Well, yes, Nicholas is a very smart and worldly man. He's a cosmopolite.
Cosmopolite? I thought he was Christian.
I'm just keep going. Oh, come on.
Hi-ho, everyone, and welcome to the Catholic Church.
I disavow all this irreverence.
Why are there so many
This is reverence.
psalms about rainbows?
Boy, I hope the new pope, whoever he is, sees this and excommunicates you so fast.
But what if it's Kermit? He might appreciate it. There's a chance.
I'm not responding to this. I'm not involved. I'm not involved in this. Come on. That guy can't even talk anymore.
Yippee-ki-yay, Holy Spirit.
Too bad the last one could talk, huh? Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Huh?
Too soon?
Too soon. Got.
Well, I've been told by reliable theologians of the left on Twitter that Francis is not only in heaven, but he has now become an angel and soon to be a saint. So
I don't think he can. We're just gonna. We'll continue forward. I will find you.
Is this the last one?
Bless you. Let me see what the next one is. Now we're gonna do this one.
Okay, it clearly can't be Pope.
He can be baptized. It's fine. It's
fine. I hate his guts.
What's the deal with transubstantiation?
These are all like terrible impressions.
It's the flesh of Jesus. It's a mystery, people. Of course, it's terrible impression.
I disavow.
You disavow. You
completely. What he's doing.
Disavow.
Completely.
Completely. All right. Well, we'll stop. Maybe we'll do more next week. I've got so
many. We will not. There'll be a pope next week.
Well, there may be a pope.
If you believe in that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, it's not about a believing in a kind of thing. I'm just saying that maybe there will be.
Don't worry about my kind of thing. All right. Should we play the other thing?
Yeah, I'm working on it. I got to pull. I'm pulling that up.
So, ladies and gentlemen, last week, several weeks ago, we played a game on the show where we did like a fantasy casting for classic films, not like from the 50s, like we did like 80s and 90s, right? Back to the Future.
Sure.
But we did it wrong. I was informed by my wife that we did it wrong. Not the first time I've heard that. So I have now corrected this mistake. We're going to have one more group of casting, but we'll do it the right way. And when Steven brings up the graphics, I will explain what we did wrong, and then I will explain the correct way that we will do it. Okay. So we have a program here, state of the art, that generates 8 random celebrities for us. And next to it, we have a casting. We will be casting everyone's favorite show, Friends. We'll be recasting as if Disney were going to reboot it today. What we do is, last week what we did was we generated the 8 random celebrities, and then we picked from the same group of 8 and filled all the roles. Well, that's wrong. Wrong. What we're supposed to do is we generate a group of 8. We pick from them 1 for the first casting, and then we regenerate another group, pick from that group for the second, and so on and so forth. So, Steven, let us do this. This is the classic show everybody loves. Emmy and Peabody winning.
That was Everybody Loves Raymond was the one that everybody loves, because not everybody loves
you anymore.
It's Friends. You. This is Friends. It's a different
show.
The
first person we're casting here is good old Ross. I'm Ross.
Hi-ho, I'm Ross.
Ross is like a cross between Kermit and... No, Jordan Peterson is like a cross between Kermit and Ross and a big old fairy. Anyway, we have a group of celebrities here that I can't see. Maybe I'll make my thing bigger. No comments, please. There we go. Pink. Sean Penn. Patricia. I actually know who these people are. This is great. Oh, I got Snooki. Last time you stole Snooki from me. Not today. Lamar Odom, I think I know who that is. He's one of the Kardashian.
I have no idea.
Partners. Sigourney Weaver, Jessica Chastain, and John Bon Jovi. Ross. Okay. Well, seeing as he's always down on everything, Sean Penn. Although we'll have a continuity problem if I do cast Sean Penn, since Sean Penn did appear as a guest star. Well, they're rebooting it, so it won't matter. I will cast Sean Penn because if anybody's good at complaining, it's Sean Penn. He's complaining about this. He's complaining about that. Now, he made that movie where he played a guy who was like a half a retard, and he didn't get in trouble because I think he was just, it was like a lateral move. Okay, now you have generated, Steven has now generated the second group of celebrities.
And I have Sean Penn.
Which he will, well, that's not fair. Do it again.
No, it's okay. I'm not going to choose Sean Penn. I'm going to, for our titular will they, won't they male lead, go with Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay. He will not win an Emmy for this role.
You got Hoffman there. I mean, it's hard to.
It is hard.
It'd be hard for me to turn down Hoffman in favor of anybody else for any role. But all right, that's fine. Leo DiCaprio as Ross. He strikes me as more of a Joey. He's always going after the underage.
Okay.
Well, Joey didn't do that.
I have no idea.
Okay, so I've got what looks like, I don't know who that is. Who's George
Matthew Perry? Oh,
Matthew Perry, who died of the drugs.
He died of the drugs. Yes.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace,
Matthew Perry. So we got Brad Paisley, who was a country singer. John Travolta, who was a gay. Amanda Seyfried, who is, I don't remember, an actress of some sort. Oh, Jason Schwartzman, who I met.
Oh, is he a friend?
He was a very nice young man. I did meet him
on the show.
I don't think he would come on the show.
Okay.
I met him when he was the drummer for a band I really like called Phantom Planet. He has since left Phantom Planet. I have no connection whatsoever to. We're trying to get Phantom Planet as they exist now to play on the show. I'm in talks. I am in talks.
But not Jason Schwartzman.
But without Jason Schwartzman. Sans Schwartzman. George, does it say Pi or Pal?
I think it's Pal.
And he's a Chinese gentleman? No. It's very small on my screen. I know you have 12 monitors.
I have 4, and he's a white man.
So this is a character who constantly makes jokes that the rest of the cast do not laugh at.
Yes, so I am not a choice.
No, you would be a great choice, though. That's true.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Travolta because there was also the plot line in Friends where I think they suspected that Chandler was gay because his dad was a trans. Well, what are you supposed to call him now? His dad was a trans.
Okay.
He was played by Barbara Streisand's ex-husband. I forget his name. But he also had the big... So they couldn't really kiss because it was... You know, they both were like... It was like two turkeys trying to peck each other.
I'm going to go with Jason Biggs because I think he's got that same energy. Also, my list of choices are not fantastic.
Well, if you're going by hair, you got to get Jane Fonda to play Joey.
If you're going by hair.
Just by the hair.
Didn't he have a spin-off that didn't do very well?
I watched it. It was fine. You know who it had? It had the one that played the old prostitute from Sopranos. As his sister. Adrian. But the lady. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Maybe Nicholas.
I never watched The Sopranos.
Maybe Nicholas on the. Well, I briefly did. I was still at the time a little bit off the rails. I had not yet become.
The Sopranos was like at the time when it was on the air, I was too young to watch it, and then when I would have been old enough to be able to.
How old are you? You're not much younger than me.
I'm 38.
Well, you don't know how old I am.
No, I don't. But I just remember it's like I was living at home when it was on the air, and then when I moved out, I was not at a place where I could have watched HBO.
You were in the alley under the bridge.
Yes, they didn't have HBO there.
Okay, I'm casting Joey now.
Yes.
Well, who's got more Riz, as the kids say, than Vanilla Ice, and more stupid? So let's cast Vanilla Ice. He's like a carpenter now. Do you know this?
I did not.
Did you ever see the movie Cool as Ice? The cinematic masterpiece. Oh boy. Starring Vanilla Ice and some lady. And he plays Vanilla Ice, basically. who rolls into town on his motorcycle and steals away the suburban. Who's that? There's a ghost. And steals away the suburban young lady from her fine, upstanding family. There's a ghost. I told you, because you're in that dungeon.
That's true. I am in a dungeon.
Of your tortured victims come out to torment you while you do a show on the air.
That's true.
Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, Cool as Ice. Yeah. Well, seek out the movie Cool as Ice. It's very good.
Don't think I will. That
comes up against a jock, I think. Doesn't care for him in his hip-hopping ways.
I think
he wins over the hearts of the people of the town. It's like Footloose, but for retards.
So like Footloose.
Yeah, like Footloose.
So I'm gonna go with Danny Trejo to be my Joey.
Because you were sticking with the ethnic angle.
I actually just think that he would do a very good Joey. And that just they're basically the same person.
As someone with an Italian background, I think that who lives in Texas, the Mexicans are the new Italians. So
the Italians are the new Irish.
Nobody thinks about us anymore. We'll ask Nicholas about this.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Now Monica. Well, okay. Oh,
I'm gonna go a couple more times because you had only one female person there. Wow, you still only have 2. Well, we're gonna stick with these. We'll see what you do.
Okay, I don't know who that. Oh, Rita Ora, I've heard of her.
Rita Ora or Miley Cyrus? If you're sticking with
I don't have to.
Right, you don't have
to. This is the modern era. Anybody could play Monica.
Anybody could play anybody. Yeah.
The neat freak, former fat of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Are any of these people former fats? I think Hugh Jackman strikes me as.
I don't know if he ever was a fat guy.
And current gay.
Ron Jeremy is fat.
I don't know who that is. He appears to be a portly gentleman.
He does appear to be a portly gentleman.
Apparently, you know who that is. Who is that?
I know that he is a famed pornographer.
My word! Good gravy, Stephen. Why do you bring this filth to my show?
It's a random celebrity. I'm just saying that he's portly.
Whatever you've done in your rancid past activities,
I've never seen anything he is in
before on the show. You've been good for weeks, and now look what you did. Look at this.
Anyway, that's who he is.
This is a family show.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
A Manson family. All right, we're still on Monica. Did Nicholas leave?
He's still here.
God bless him. You know what? Just because of the, I don't like any of these choices. I remember Monica being a little naggy, and I feel like Miley Cyrus is a little.
Okay.
You know, so let's put her. That wasn't a Chinese person I was doing. Oh, I play a Monica. It was because that's racist. It's just the impression of Miley Cyrus.
All right, let's give me a couple goes here, and Courtney Cox.
Well, now we got a Chinaman on there. It was prescient what I did there.
We should do.
You got Courtney Cox. That's funny.
I know. We should just do Courtney Cox. She comes back as herself,
boring,
pretending to be a 20-year-old.
I'd do Shakaruki Khan. Who is that?
Nah. Most I don't know. There's this Bobby Dylan. Who knows what that is?
You could do Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, the be the fantastic Monica. Keep the house clean.
The thing is, like,
it's a
Zoe Deschanel. I'm not
a fantastic friend. The best friend. I'll pump up all those friends. They look at the flabby butt friends. I will fix them. Take them to the gym. It'll be fantastic.
I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go Courtney Cox reprising her role.
All right.
And just trying to be a 20-year-old again.
I mean, you're really wasting so much talent here.
I am.
You got Rocky Cocky Khan there.
All right, well.
Oh, I got Justin Theroux. I got Hitler. I got
Charlie Chaplin.
Huh?
It's Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, it's small on my screen. You sure?
Yeah. At least 3 of the people on the screen are dead.
Because Rachel strikes me as a bit of a Hitler, so I was going to go ahead and. But you're telling me that's not Hitler?
No.
Okay. Yeah, that's so funny about the show Glee. Like everybody died.
Yeah. Corey
It was
Monteith.
cursed.
Drugged out or something.
I don't know who Jihani Goosen is. Do you? Let's give her a shot. She looks like a good egg. Get it? Her name's Goosen.
She's a golden egg. Yeah, no, I get it. All right. I'm gonna go.
Time is just flying by.
It is. I'm just trying to get so that we can have 30 minutes with our guest. I'm gonna go with Jeff Dunham. And that's not gonna be. It's Rachel. For Rachel. It's not gonna be Jeff Dunham. Yeah, it's gonna be a puppet. Yeah, it's gonna be a puppet.
Because I think those are permanently affixed to his.
Right. It's gonna be
all his appendages contain.
Yeah, it's gonna be a puppet. So it's gonna be Rachel Puppet. All right. Last but not least, we got Phoebe.
Oh, Phoebe. Oh, look, there's a perfect cast here, but it's not funny. Do I go for something that may be interesting or the perfect? Because the perfect cast is probably Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Really? I was thinking Barbara Streisand.
Oh, I don't want to look at Barbara Streisand. Can you imagine every week having to look at Barbara Streisand?
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
You'd be like that guy that married Barbara Streisand. With the big,
Nas?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know who married Barbara Streisand.
It was like two swordfish fighting over a kernel of corn when they wanted to make out. It's like,
wow, you went straight there.
Well.
So Jennifer Love Hewitt, you say, the woman who sees ghosts and married
Kris Jenner, who is known as a madam because she leases out her daughters.
Right.
Now, what are those other little ones that she has? Are they also daughters? Are they rented from somewhere?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Renting,
I don't watch
renting babies
shows.
is Dave Rubin's job. So maybe she wasn't renting them. But there are two littler ones that are not. They're called Jenners. So I think they're Bruce Jenner's kids, but Bruce Jenner's not there anymore. He went on his gender adventure.
Sure.
So Kris Jenner has, but she kept the name. This is so interesting psychologically. Shouldn't she have changed her last name to Barbara, which is what Bruce Jenner now is called? Barbara Jenner.
That is not what happened.
I'm pretty sure.
Not a thing. No.
They were friends with OJ. Some of them think one of them, that big gorilla one, is really OJ's daughter. What's that one called?
I don't know.
There's a big one.
Gorilla daughter.
Huh?
A gorilla daughter.
Yeah. People say that's OJ's child.
Okay.
Like Trudeau is really Castro's son. This is speculation.
No,
for legal
purposes,
I cannot be sued for this.
No, you can.
But there's a big giant one.
Big giant. Okay.
Me smash. And then there's Kim. The most well-known. She's in some of those movies you apparently liked. That other guy. That kind of stuff.
She was in
but there's two little ones.
Paw Patrol and Paw Patrol 2.
Oh, those for kids?
Yeah. Paw Patrol. Yeah. Because I thought because like I'm watching it and like in the movie, like in the like previews or whatever, they talk about like and Kim Kardashian as a poodle. And it's like, what was the demographic that you're going for? Where in a kids movie, you think that someone's going to be like Kim Kardashian's voice? Yes, sign me up.
Well, do you want to be serious about this? This is all on purpose. It's grooming, they call it. Just like if you walk into Target or whatever, the little girl section, all the clothes look like they're made for whores. And they're supposed to be for like 6-year-olds. It's not an accident. It's on purpose. They put spells on the. What are you looking at?
I'm looking.
Oh, you don't know what you're looking at because you got your wonky eye. I'm over here, Steven. Turn. I'm over here. The other way.
Well, actually, if I'm doing that, you're up there.
Like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Oh, we should do that one day. The all-male Brady Bunch recasting. What are you looking at?
boy, I'm trying to figure out who the Kardashian is, the big honking one that you're talking about.
There's a big giant one, and then there's two little ones. But they have a different name. They have Bruce Jenner's name.
Right.
Oh, sorry, Barbara. Damn it.
It's not either of those.
Keep doing that.
It's neither of those names. Can you? Okay.
Look,
we're
you're going to get us in trouble again. I told you last time. It wants to be called Barbara.
No.
So show respect.
Not even a little bit.
Barbara Jenner. It looks like a woman. It dresses like a woman. It drives like a woman. It's
not
Barbara
even
Jenner.
It's not. That's not the name.
Well, you can be in denial all you want. I, for one, embrace this new world we live in and all the Barbara Jenners that come with it, and happily. It's an interesting play. And then the gays doing it in the children's library, whatever you got. It's fine. It's good.
A family show.
It's a family show. There are all kinds of families. 3 dads, Steven, whatever it is. It's family. Cast your Phoebe.
I'm waiting for you to cast yours.
Oh, good grief. I'm sorry. Well, since I've slandered her up and down, I might as well give Kris Jenner the opportunity to play Phoebe. A little kooky, right? Little kooky. There you go. It's fine.
Okay.
But not anymore.
Right.
Now she's fine. She's a model mother and wife.
All right.
We should all be so lucky to have a Kris Jenner for our mother. Oh, there's that pervert Hank.
I'm going to go with Vanessa Hudgens simply because.
Oh, you know, I got a great idea, though. If you cast the goose in both roles, they could do like a Haley Mills kind of thing. Remember the old Parent Trap? She played both of them. Bring that back.
Yeah, but they were two different casting.
No, it was the same.
You know what I'm saying?
Your
casting
cousins.
and my casting.
Cousins, identical cousins.
Nope, none of that.
They think alike, they act alike, they probably even date alike. The lucky. You don't know that?
Hey, guys,
Haley Mills.
We just
and then Haley Mills was the teacher on the first season of Saved by the Bell. It was called Miss Nicholas. Here's our guest, Nicholas De Santo. Thank you so much, Nicholas. I know it's an ungodly hour where you are. We really appreciate you coming on the show. You know, this is another thing that bothers me. Let me get this off my chest. Trump ran on this premise of getting rid of time zones, and Nicholas still got to be up at 2:00 in the morning to be on our show because this is another thing he didn't follow through on.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Not even a little bit.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Oh, our pleasure. Nicholas, it's been now, YouTube tells me it's been a year since we spoke, but it feels like longer. But we did do an interview on an old show of mine, which was no video. You didn't have to see this. And it was audio only, and it was a more serious kind of discussion about comedy and the world. And Steven, are you sleeping? He's always eating. Nicholas, this is what I do with. At least he's not eating today. He's usually eating or like looking things up on Google on his phone. He's got his lady mug there. He's sipping out all the time. He doesn't pay attention. He doesn't do research. He has no idea who you are, I'm sure.
I honestly don't.
He only watches Disney Channel. This is true.
That's not true. I watch other things. Not many, but I do.
Oh, he watches. Okay, he watches that. You're right. He watches Disney Channel and The Mentalist. Have you heard of The Mentalist?
Everyone's heard of The Mentalist. Come on, Nicholas, back me up here. The Mentalist.
I don't know what The Mentalist is. I've heard the name, but
it's a police procedural. It's one of those shows about a guy who
being a mentalist means you're like a crazy person.
In England, so from England, I watch shows like Red Dwarf and that Mitchell and Webb look.
Who's Fred Dwarf?
Red Dwarf.
Oh, Red Dwarf.
If you're in England, you should know what Red Dwarf and what.
I'm not in England, Stephen. I'm in Texas.
I'm talking to the Englishman who's Italian.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know those shows either.
You don't know Mitchell and Webb? They're like huge.
Mitchell and Webb, yeah.
Yeah, they had
it's not on
show
right now. I mean,
it's not on.
It's on national TV.
No,
it's a classic.
It's a classic. Well, I guess it's from the 2000s, 2004 through like 2009 or something like that. But,
now, Nicholas, you grew up. Correct me if anything I say is wrong. you grew up in Italy, or had you left Italy when you were young and come back to Italy? Because you were
Well,
in.
I left Italy for high school,
Okay.
sadly. But by that I mean I did my high school in Iran, which was the country of
Right.
my parents.
Right.
So that was the the worst possible time to be out of Italy and in Iran was my high school years.
Yeah. Is there a? Oh,
So yeah, I was born in Italy and I was there for a while, but then I did my high school in Iran, and then after high school I returned to Italy
okay.
before moving to England.
Okay. So were your comedy influences, if you have any, were they Italian? Were they British? Are there comedians in Iran? There must be. No,
Not much.
but it's so
No,
funny there.
no. Pardon me?
But it's so funny there. It's
Oh
rife with
yeah.
opportunity for comedy.
It is funny, but it would be difficult for an Iranian comic to survive. Not much, people can't take jokes, and the
Mm,
government can't take jokes, so it wouldn't be a long career, let's say.
right.
And of course,
Because you'd get murdered, right?
yeah, or jailed, or
Or
yeah,
both.
Now, do we want to talk about that? About what happened to you? Or we don't want to talk about that?
to me.
Yeah. Because weren't you in a jail there?
Yeah, it was just a couple of weeks. By Iranian standards, it doesn't give you any bragging rights, but I just
Okay.
came up with that joke, which people like, so I keep repeating it. But it's
Okay.
also a good, you know, perspective on life, because I don't know if you want me to kind of repeat the joke, but
Sure.
I it goes like this. I say, in the West, people say the day my child was born was the most beautiful, the most exciting day of my life. That's what people say. These people have clearly never been released from an Iranian prison.
Oh,
So
he's got.
so when thanks for the laugh effect. So it just puts things in perspective. When things are not going so well, you think, hey, at least I'm not in prison. You know what I mean?
In Iran,
Although,
right?
yeah, nowadays in Britain we have a government who does put in prison for jokes, or for memes, or
Yes.
for posting and reposting on X.
Now,
So
Nicholas, have you caught any flack on X or online from the government yourself? You're still in England, right? You're doing
yeah,
your.
yeah, I haven't been, maybe sadly, because my career could use some prison time. It would be good PR,
Stop doing that,
wouldn't
Stephen.
it? But I'm not racially English or Anglo-Saxon, and I have an accent, and I have a foreign background. Maybe they don't want to deal with that, because then
Yeah.
I could play some other cards potentially. I don't
Oh,
know
that's
what the deal
true.
is, or simply maybe I'm not big enough to be put in jail for now. So we'll
Well,
see how it goes, in the words
th-
of Trump.
there's no question they must hate your guts because of because of
Oh
what you
yeah.
say. I mean, the pro-life thing, that was probably bad enough in their perspective, but everything else that surrounds it. Now, the pro-life set went incredibly viral. It's incredibly funny. Um, is it
Thank you.
still your most popular? Do you still do that same set, or have you moved on to all new stuff? Because I'm sure it's tempting as a comic, like something kills pretty regularly. It's hard to abandon it, right? You want to go back. It's tempting to go back to that well, especially if it's a new audience that hasn't heard it. Do you find yourself doing that ever, or are you happy to just move on?
Well, I didn't do that set in full, for a couple of reasons. First of all, that set worked out so well in that venue, and that's the key thing also. In
Yeah.
that venue, and a couple of venues where the promoters were promoters slash activists, but but good activists, like
Mm.
conservative free speech activists. So
Oh, great.
I did it in London. That's the video which is on my channel, and I did it also in a couple of other towns. Um, and of course, to this day, it has been my most popular video, 1.1 million views,
Yeah.
which is not bad. Uh, and I've been flattered by request. Even, for example, I am a member of an organization in the US which is called Catholic Speakers Organizations,
Oh, okay.
and they have been, I haven't done any events with them yet, but they have received some interest from some pro-life organizations in the US for next year, who would want me to go and perform this set or speak with younger audiences, like people in colleges, kids in colleges and things like that. So I'm very
Yeah.
much looking forward to that.
Yeah, I
What are you
think my
doing?
friend Boss Rutan is a member of that same um
Oh,
Boss
might be.
Boss is a he's an actor. He was a UFC heavyweight champion when he
Yeah,
was
they have
younger.
a range of speakers, and I was very flattered when they
Yeah.
approached me, and they've put me on their roster. And yes, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, it's very flattering when I get these requests, because it's comedy plus a good cause, isn't it?
Right, yeah,
Um,
sure.
So I gotta
and
ask,
that's fine.
what are you
Just go.
doing on February 7th
Oh no, don't
this year?
come on.
I'm gonna ask.
He has
February
a
7th.
he has
I
a
have a
comedy festival that he puts on every year.
yes.
It was like very small. It's getting bigger every year though. And so he whenever somebody's on that's actually funny,
We had
he
almost
gets
a
there.
thousand people
Yeah.
I don't
last
think,
year.
as a conservative comic in Britain, I don't have a very crowded agenda, so I should be free.
You're
Oh, you
telling
hear that,
me
Steven?
you're telling me that a conservative Catholic comedian in the UK doesn't have a full slate of gigs every night?
And in London,
You're
no less. So this is like Portland to the power of
Oh
five.
boy. Yeah.
you're not gonna be playing Buckingham Palace that night. You're good.
Yeah, I should be good. I should be
Oh,
good.
sweet. We'll chat
Now,
more.
what about this king? Is he is he better than the old broad was? Or oh, you can't say that, huh? Or is he just the same? Because I heard something about he put out an Easter message all about Islam instead of mentioning Christianity. Is that true?
Well, I have a joke about that as well. He's worse. F- f-
Oh,
First of all, he is an environmentalist,
oh boy.
and this is one thing, and I'll get to the main thing, but just for your, I have I've made a couple of jokes about this as well, because in the UK we have a government which is hell bent on the so-called net zero
Hmm.
target. They have self-imposed all these environmental climate change targets that Donald Trump pulled out of. We are
Right.
still abiding by them, and nobody's abiding by them. So China is opening a coal uh, plant every week, or every couple of days. And here in the UK, we are paying the most expensive bills for electricity and for energy, because we have basically shot ourselves in the foot by self-imposing these targets. And this king is very much in favor of
Hmm.
these policies. And of course, in theory, he should be neutral. Uh,
Right.
Previous
Yeah.
government advised him to be a bit more quiet about it, because people didn't like it either. But that's one thing. Then in terms of um, cozying up to Islam, which is a something that has plagued most of our ruling elite. Uh, you're right. He gave an Easter message, and in this Easter message, he praised Islam and Judaism, and people were a bit taken aback. And
Hmm.
I had a bit about this, and I did that bit a couple of years ago, but I made a YouTube short about it again. Now it's on my channel. Like, and it's actually done quite well for a short on YouTube. Like in 24 hours, it gained like 7,000, which
Oh,
by
that's
my
good.
standards and for shorts it was good. Anyway, you know the monarch in England is also the head of the Church of England,
I know.
which is this weird church that they put up because Henry VIII wanted to divorce his wives. Basically, Henry
Mm.
VIII went through wives like Taylor Swift used to go through boyfriends, right? So,
Hmm.
so they came up with this Church of England, and the monarch is the head of the Church of England, and
Right.
his or her title is Fide Defensor, which is Latin for defender of
End
the
of the
faith,
faith.
and it's
Yeah.
even on the back of the British coins. And I went on stage and I said, look, the monarch, Queen Elizabeth, late Queen Elizabeth, and King Charles, they have defended Christianity like Harry Maguire has defended Manchester United's goal line. And of course, that's a soccer reference. And I said, for
Right.
the Americans who don't follow Manchester United, King Charles and his late mother have defended the Christian faith pretty much in the same manner that Kamala Harris defended the US southern border.
Right.
So so no
Yeah.
no defense, no defense whatsoever.
No defense
And
at all.
that's the situation.
Now, how do you?
You
How
know,
are? How are?
there was this. Uh, I have another little joke if you don't mind.
Yeah. Sure.
Um, there was a Pakistani Christian woman
Hmm.
uh, a few years ago, maybe less than 10 years ago or so. Um, Azia Bibi was her name, and she was sentenced to death for blasphemy because she was,
Right.
spuriously accused by some jealous neighbors of uh, desecrating the Quran or something to that effect. And she was sentenced to death because that's Pakistan. And of course, there was a massive international campaign and international pressure. And ultimately, the Supreme Court of Pakistan quashed the verdict,
Hmm.
absolved her. But that meant that now the judges of the Supreme Court of Pakistan were under death threats as well.
Oh boy.
Anyway, so some Western countries were mobilizing themselves to get her out, and the UK government rejected her asylum application for fear of
Oh
uh,
boy.
riots, attacks on their embassy in Pakistan, and also attacks by the so-called British Pakistanis in the streets of British cities. So the former colonial power, which actually created Pakistan, the country whose head of state is head of the Church of England, has three crosses on their flag. At that time, Theresa May was our prime minister, a Christian
Right.
woman with a Christian name. They rejected Asia Bibi's, of all people, they rejected her application. And who took her in? Who took Asia Bibi in? Justin Trudeau. And I
Hmm.
said, when you lose defense of Christianity to Justin Trudeau, it's like losing the Native American heritage competition to Elizabeth Warren.
wasn't it? Wasn't it also? I mean, you have to laugh, but wasn't it also England that's prevented? I remember some years ago, probably around the same time as that incident or thereabouts. There was a baby. I remember this, and this makes me so angry. There was a baby in a hospital that the hospital said, "Oh, the baby's going to die. We can't do anything about it." But there were like experimental treatments available in other parts of the world, and the hospital did not want to let the baby go. The Vatican said, "We'll take in." I think it was the
Yeah,
Vatican proper. I think it was Vatican City. Said, "We will take in the baby." Was it not England also that said,
absolutely.
"We will not
It was
release
less
the
than
baby"?
5 years ago, and you know, at that time, as my day job, I used to work for the Italian consulate in London, and
Oh,
the Italian government gave the baby Italian citizenship in a
that's right.
special emergency session so that they could get him out because the parents were fighting against the judiciary in England. They were fighting against English doctors. They were saying, we want to treat this alternative. And there was this Catholic hospital in Rome who
Right.
was willing to take this baby and try to cure him. And the parents both wanted to get him out, and they couldn't, even though the Italian government went the extra mile and gave the baby Italian citizenship so as to maybe help through the diplomatic channels or legal channels to get. But this is the state of this country. I mean, this is the state of
It's the
the West
world.
in general. But
Yeah.
yeah, we are in a bad place right now on so
Do
many
you
levels.
think that and I don't mean I don't mean to get into like, policy specific necessarily, but for whatever people think of Trump and his efficacy as far as doing the things he said he's going to do, blah blah blah. Do you think that just the fact of his election, have you seen it cause any kind of change in England? Do you think that they feel pressure to align more with, because we see a lot of Hollywood now, like all of a sudden they're divesting their DEI departments and, and Disney and all this stuff. Do you think that the British government, have they become more indignant in the face of Trump's popular election, or do you think they feel a little pressure to, like, this is the way the pendulum is starting to swing and we need to get a little bit on board? What have you noticed there? I mean, even from this perspective perhaps of the microcosm of, like, your audience, not that you have a small audience, but I mean, what have you seen? Is it are the people at least rallying more to the idea of, freedom, uh Christian religion, the heritage of the West, any of that stuff? Has there been a fire lit under anyone?
This was certainly the hope. Um, and in most of Europe, it is the case. Before Trump or after Trump, if you look at places like Italy,
Mhm.
Hungary, the Netherlands, France, Germany, all of these countries, we either have a conservative, right wing government in power. For example, Italy, whose prime minister was one of the few European leaders who was invited to Trump's inauguration and also to speak at
Mm.
CPAC, or we have a major right wing government breathing on the back of, major right wing opposition breathing on the back of the neck of the government
Mm.
because of the whole Trump effect and the inspiration. Sadly, Britain is the country that bucks this trend. So we
Mm.
have a leftist government which came to power because our so-called conservative party was only conservative in name. 14 years they were in power, which is quite unprecedented, and they were
Mm.
so bad. And I just gave you an example: a conservative female prime minister rejecting the asylum application from a Christian woman in Pakistan, while everyone else is coming. Just our southern border is like your southern border under Biden, except ours is the English Channel. They come with rickety dinghies. But the
Right.
conservative government was basically a bunch of rhinos, to put it in American terms, right? And we have this crazy leftist prime minister who was asked what is a woman, and he couldn't define a woman. Like,
Oh
I'm
boy.
not a
Yeah.
biologist. And I told you about um, the hate speech laws and jailing people for silence. JD Vance came to Munich and reprimanded, among others, Britain specifically because, as we are talking, there's a mother in jail because she posted something on X against immigration after
Mm.
three little girls, white girls, were killed by a uh, black kid, and the government tried to cover that up just for a change. So we have people in jail for tweets, for memes, for reposting, not even original posts. We
Right.
have
Yeah.
people jailed for silently praying outside abortion clinics because by law there is a perimeter that you cannot even silently, and the videos are all over the place, and Elon Musk went hard on them, and try to magnify the situation, so even more attention. But so this is our situation. The only exception to this rule was just last week when the Supreme Court of Britain came out with this verdict,
The
which
J.K.
said
Rowling
there are only two
thing.
genders, biological gender. So now we
Yeah.
will see how the police and how the hospitals and how institutions are going to comply, because until now, our National Health Service uh, was calling women, or whatever they saw as women, like chest feeders, not
Yeah.
breastfeeders, or birth givers and not mothers, and all this weird cult terminology. They have to do away with all of that. But yeah, sorry if it was a long answer, but
No,
to
that's
put it
great.
in a nutshell, Trump effect remains to be seen. That verdict by the Supreme Court was a good start,
Yeah.
but the rest of the picture so far is still bleak, in
Yeah.
Britain at least.
Well, I think a good indicator is the fact that you should be playing stadiums. So because
Oh, thank you.
so if you're because first of all you're genuinely funny, clever, smart, but you're talking about the right things from the right perspective, should be huge. But the sign that you're not just tells me the culture's not getting there all that quickly, if it's going to at all. It's interesting. I notice small things sometimes about how much the woke, for lack of a better term, way of thinking is entrenched in media and entertainment, and it's the vehicle for pushing a lot of it. There was a video game, a remaster they call it. They updated the graphics on this very popular video game from some years ago. I think yesterday they released it, and they changed. And this is happening more and more. When you can make your character in the beginning of the game, you can pick a man or a woman, but they don't say male or female anymore. Now they all say body type A or body type B, and you can put a beard on the body type B, which is the feminine, body type. And this is a game that was just released, so these people did not pick up on the fact that the tide is supposedly shifting. But it's also the fault of the consumers, right? And this is probably true of comedy also. You tell me. People are going to get what they will support. So if people are buying these games, they're buying these movies, they're paying for Netflix, who's making that dopey show that you have a bit about, Adolescence or whatever, right? They're almost as complicit as the people that are pushing it out, right? They couldn't do it without the support of. Now they do get money from Stephen. What's that thing called we have here in America? It's like a fund that will pay. It's the reason that Disney hasn't folded.
Taxes?
They'll reward like diverse DEI initiatives and
USAID.
something that was part of it. But anyway, it's slipping my mind now, but I don't. And I'm sure England has something similar, but they incentivize this messaging to be placed into media, such as they don't care so much about box office returns. They don't care so much about how many copies a thing sells because they're getting that money from, like World Economic Forum and whoever else, and George Soros. Anyway, so
Yeah,
is that
they
something
see it
that
as an investment. But I
right?
agree. Consumers, people must be more aware of their power, also voting with their wallets. And
Yes.
sometimes we see good signs, like when Gillette got that backlash, in the US, you had
Mhm.
the uh, Budweiser getting the backlash, and recently the movie Snow White,
Right.
right? So the same thing. People should start paying corporations and media outlets that despise them and that have declared war on them and want to indoctrinate their children. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's so weird. It's so weird too, Nicholas, because like there are all these fringe, like, so-called marginalized groups, like Peter Dinklage, the little, I don't know what you're supposed to call him, the little guy actor. He was upset about Snow White because they cast real little people in it. So then he protested. I don't know if you heard about this. He threw a big fit until they removed the little people and like computer generated them. Like, how was that better? So he cost all these little people that are like him a job because he was I don't know what he wanted out of it, but he was offended that, like, I don't know, other Little People actors exist, I guess. He wants to, like, have the market cornered on that. So it gets so weird. And then, like, even companies that are well-intentioned, which obviously Disney is not, but even companies that are, I feel like they get so kowtowed because they don't know who to be afraid of, you know? I just wish that, like, normal people would make them afraid. Like, be afraid of normal people. Like, just normal, like, husbands and wives and family and Christian people. They need to be the ones that you should be afraid of, and their dollar should matter. But it's like trying to tell people that are so addicted to entertainment to just, like, stop purchasing entertainment is very difficult. I mean, there's in America, we have little else. You take away our Netflix and our video games, and, you know, what are we going to do? Read a book? So it's hard, you know.
Yeah, we need competition, definitely. We need conservative media, we need conservative content, and we need people like what is great about the return of Trump, which was such an inspiring, such an maybe unpredictable, unimaginable comeback on so many
Wild.
levels, is
Yeah.
that it was also the revenge and the vindication of the normies, right? Normal
Yeah.
people who saw, you know what,
Yeah.
DeSantis will have his time. Uh, Other candidates will have their time. They are young, but this guy, you have thrown everything at him, from bullets to judicial, trumped up charges, you know,
Mhm.
and all that. And people said, no, let the guy have another chance because we are tired of this. The border obviously was an issue. The economy was terrible. The whole lies about Biden's, cognitive and mental sharpness and all of that. But also this transgender LGBT woke DEI
Mhm.
propaganda and the continuous gaslighting that women and men are the same, that nationalities don't exist, borders don't exist, globalism, that BLM was mostly peaceful protest. Like they
Mhm.
they look at you in the eyes and lie to you with the background behind them betraying their lies, and they still are shameless and tell you lies. But Biden was stumbling uh, uh, left and right, and they were still saying, no, this guy is super sharp. And we would say, when you lie on these things, which are before everyone's eyes, then where
Mhm.
else are you also lying? So,
Yeah.
so I think we, the people, consumers, parents, citizens, Christians, we need to be more aware of the power that we have. And of course, we are nice, and we have jobs. We are not full-time activists, paid by George Soros or this fund or USAID or you know. Uh, Living on off of the bank of mom and dad and all that. But we need to have time to make good choices, to choose wisely, to stop funding with our hard earned money corporations and outlets and organizations that hate us, that despise us, and want to turn and transform all of us into stateless, godless, genderless, gender fluid, atomized, beige consumers, because that's how they will rule over us, and that's how they will shackle us and erase our identity.
Yeah, and also, we'll start to wrap up soon because Steven's got to milk his cow. That's not a euphemism. Um, he has a farm, but it's terrible for comedy because, just for a real small example, we've seen in the past few years Bill Burr go from being one of the genuinely funniest stand-ups out there to just a woke automaton parroting whatever his wife seems to be telling him to say about the idea du jour that is dear to the left, which is something I would not have anticipated 10, 15 years ago when I was watching Bill Burr specials before the change happened. But I want to ask you something that only a comedian can really answer, an active stand-up can really answer. Do you think that we're going to see now, because I feel like I'm noticing it already, comics who are shifting because they see the tide shifting and are just going to start playing into saying what they feel like people want to hear now. Because I've noticed some fairly big names are already doing that. They're kind of jumping on the train of like, oh, I was always for these common sense points and making jokes about them. I was not a wokey, a leftist. Now that the money's going to be coming from the other side, I'm going to be on the other side too. Have you noticed that at all? And what do you think about that? These these hacks that are just going to jump on the gravy train of now Trump is back in and I can't hide under Biden and Kamala's protection anymore.
Well, of course, in the UK, we don't have this trend for the reasons that I said, because we are
Right.
pretty much still in the dark ages. But but yes, if the pendulum is swinging in America, and it has swung to a great extent with Trump's victory, uh, I would say I welcome it. Of course, maybe some comics or artists uh, do this out of opportunism, because they see an opportunity and they just want to go where the wind is blowing, and that's maybe inevitable. It's always been like that. But
Yeah.
also the inspiration, the bravery, the change in the political landscape can also inspire some other comics, old or young, to be more outspoken, to call liberals and the cancel culture and the censorship, to call them out, and to give people what people want to say. Obviously, when you have someone like Trump in power, when you have the likes of Elon Musk, and when you see good results, of course, politics is downstream from culture, but also
Mm-hmm.
culture can be inspired by what's going on in politics. So when Trump says we are stopping censorship in the government, we are dismantling these departments that whose job was just to spy on people and censor them, and then we are going to protect Christians from the long arm of the state, and so on. You feel safer, and you feel there's a more friendly climate for you to be creative, with less fear, or hopefully no fear of censorship. So yeah, some people are going to jump on the bandwagon because they think the bucks are there to be made. Fair enough. And some people might be genuinely encouraged to be more honest and to do less self censorship. So I think it's a good thing ultimately.
I think much more than Trump, if we get a pope that's actually based, as the kids say, that'll really help things swing because that's global. You know, that's that's the reach that you kind of want someone in that position to be on the right side and actually saying the right things and pushing against all this nonsense because he can effectively really influence people much more than a Trump can. And people are always going to have their prejudices against Trump, but there are even people on the hard left that respect the papacy, believe it or not. So it's I think it's easier to win them over maybe that way. Stephen, wake up. Do you have any questions for our guest?
I'm good.
Okay. Nicholas, do you have any plans to come to the U.S. in the near future? Because they'll love your stuff. Certain places over here. I'm in Texas, and obviously there's a big epicenter now in Austin. Joe Rogan, Joe Rogan, the guy that pretends he's a comic. He bought a club down there, and he's got a lot of his friends that pretend they're comics. They could use some real comics in there, such as yourself.
Oh, thanks very much. Well, I don't have any specific plans. I was in the U.S. on a couple of occasions. I did a show in Toronto, in Ontario, Canada, and then I came down to Houston for an interview about Christian art. Actually, there was
Oh,
a very nice young Christian couple who had seen me on YouTube and wanted to do a sort of documentary. And then
very nice.
I did a few spots and small spots in Houston. I also went down to Austin to check out Joe Rogan's club and did
Oh, you
there
did?
also open mic, but didn't do anything more major because
Yeah.
it's so
How was
popular that
that?
it's not easy to get there.
How did it go? How did it go there? I'm so curious. I haven't been there to Rogan's Club.
Well, it's quite surreal
Hmm.
because of this club, Austin has become like a mecca for comics and aspiring comics. Many move there, and then there's this pilgrimage every Monday because they have Kill Tony, which is this very famous
Right. Yeah.
show with that particular format where aspiring comics do 1 minute and then are kind of roasted, interviewed by Tony Hinchcliffe and his
Mm.
team. So basically on Monday you go there to Austin where this club is, Joe Rogan's club, which is called the Mothership, and
Right.
you have hundreds, literally hundreds of comics or aspiring comics lining, queuing in the street, hoping to be called both for the open mic and for Tony Hinchcliffe's show. So literally out of more, I counted more than 200 people were in line to get a spot on the open mic, and they would be drawn at random. And I was number 14 out of 14 that they wanted to do
Hmm.
the open mic. So I was lucky enough for my name to be pulled out. So I did a 3 minute spot, we call them as stand-up
Yeah.
comics, inside Joe Rogan's club, but I wasn't picked for Kill Tony. So
Hmm.
if I manage to reach them, it would be good to do something a bit more serious or more substantial.
Yeah.
And I've reached out to a couple of American conservative comics. I've said, look, I'm a fan of yours. I like your material. I'm also doing anti-woke conservative comedy here in the UK. Maybe we can do a joint show. Maybe I can open for you. So just keep me in mind. I'm trying to explore the territory because obviously the US is huge,
Yeah.
and gradually as I build on my followership and my channel, right now I'm at 73,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, which is not bad. So I'm hoping to uh, you know um, gather enough followers so that if I set up a show in the US, there are enough people in the region to come and see me, because many of them tell me on YouTube or elsewhere, okay, when are you coming to Texas? When are you coming to California? When are you coming? But I just think if all of you guys were in the same state, that would have been fantastic. But
Yeah.
we need to see if it's viable, because obviously if I cross the ocean, I need to be sure I can sell a reasonable number of tickets
Of
to
course. Of
make it
course.
worthwhile.
Yeah. I've been reaching out to some of these other conservative leaning comedians too, like um Nathan Bargatze has a whole thing. Are you familiar with Nathan?
I've seen some of his
Okay, very
sets.
funny
Yes.
guy. He only
Yeah.
works clean, and he has like a whole network now of um, clean comics he's gathering to try to make them bigger. So that might be something I can't. It's called Nate Land. He just finds these clean working or conservative leaning or both comedians, and he gives them like a spotlight on his
Yeah.
X or on his YouTube,
That's
and
that's
sometimes
a good tip. I'll check it
yeah,
out. Yeah. I'm
because I
also applying to Dry Bar Comedy.
oh
I
sure
contacted them. They said for our next season we are getting applications in May. So in early May I'm gonna send them a set. So yeah, I'm trying to make things move and see what happens.
yeah I think well you'd be perfect for Dry Bar and for Nate Land too for what Pergazzi's doing. I'm a big fan, Nicholas. I got to tell you that, and yeah, I'm hoping that things keep changing because my family we're going to be getting into an RV pretty soon and hitting the road. want to show my daughter the beautiful parts of the country while she's still young. And so I'm thinking about, it's probably a good time to. It's been a long time, but to get back out there and do some open mics myself. So I'm hoping that audiences are more receptive to what I'll say than they would have been, I don't know, 2 years ago or so. But we'll see.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. But right now, good things are happening in the U.S., so it's a good consolation for
Yeah.
somebody living in the UK. So we all from here we look at the U.S. with hope and with inspiration, and it's always good to have something to basically a benchmark to measure yourself against.
Well, hopefully somehow things will change over there for the better in a big way. And in the meantime, keep plugging away. You're doing great stuff. I love your work, and hopefully come back on again soon, and we'll talk more. Maybe there'll be good news about you coming to the U.S.
Absolutely. Let's keep in touch. Thanks for having me
Of
on the
course.
new show, new format. I really enjoyed that episode you sent me with not just with the weird Valentine's Day gifts, but also with Ken, the owner of that family-owned toy shop, because I was also a Tintin fan, and
Oh,
that was
really?
also very interesting.
Yeah, I love Tintin. Yeah, he was a good guest. I like talking to people like that do something particular, that aren't just like he has a niche thing. It's something I'm interested in. Maybe somebody else will be interested in it too. I'm a Tintin fan. I also am a big fan of, like family businesses and things like that. There aren't that many of them left, unfortunately, after the devastation wrought by the so-called pandemic. But that's another
Of
topic for
course,
another day.
of
Yeah.
course, yes.
Well, it appears that Steven has fallen into a black hole and he presses the button. So I'm going to try to figure out if I can end the
Maybe he's
show.
milking the cows now.
Maybe. Yeah. His cow gets real ornery if he doesn't get on there. So I'm going to try and see if I'm able to somehow end the stream myself. And if not, we'll just have awkwardness here while we both drop off the camera. But Nicholas, thank you so much. And yeah, we'll definitely stay in touch.
Thank
And
you, Chris. Thanks for having me. Best of luck with the show. And anytime you invite me, I'll be very glad to be back.
thank you so much, Nicholas. We'll speak soon. God bless you, my
Take
friend.
care.
All right. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.